And we are kicking off here for this semi-final two. Franco's Eggpostles versus Team Cat Green. And what a phenomenal name, the Eggpostles.
What a yoke. What a yoke.
I think Team Cat Green could have renamed themselves, if I'm honest. I think
Could have been some. I don't know. Could have put some. Maybe they just second language. I guess.
Yeah. What's Team Shat? I don't know. Yes, Genji banned out here. Of course, Towers of Doom is a map where some rotational advantage can be very useful. Genji, one of those heroes that really excels in putting on that pressure.
Such a king of the map, yeah. Definitely want that one gone. Sylve as well, very powerful on the rotation. Both teams similarly minded, not wanting someone to pick like a hybrid assassin, someone who's quite strong in the bot lane but can pressure top lane as well, trying to make it more difficult for the teams, making them kind of decide one way or the other. Vala, incredibly strong in the bot lane, is also going to be removed. She is very happy to just stack autos for the entire game as the opponents kind of walk towards and away from that lane. So not a surprise to see her removed. She is indeed very strong on Towers of Doom. I think it's one of her better maps.
Yeah, so now here, this last ban of this rotation, we are going to see Franco's Eggpostles ban out the Dehaka, not wanting that global advantage to be in the hands of Team Cat Green. I've
discussed this with Samu before at great length. It's such a strong pick on the map as Mal'Ganis is first pick.
Yeah, I mean,
Team Cat Green.
And this is what you can get sometimes from those higher level players. A little bit more spiciness in terms of what's going on. Instantly, someone has already predicted a load of points towards Team Cat Green, which is fair enough,
Is Draco Click the last Mal'Ganis player? I can't remember.
No, we had a Mal'Ganis in the Rumble yesterday as well. It seems like the French teams do love it. As we have Brightwing and Blaze here to help sort things out.
Brightwing Blaze, much more standard of a rotation. Gonna see that control in the top side. Blaze, a lot of wave clear, and very excited to come down to team fight where necessary. Brightwing, of course, able to support that, but the Blaze answer is the Lost Vikings, and Blaze is currently looking at a very unenjoyable match. Is it bad enough that you pivot into a main tank Blaze? I think it might actually be close.
Yeah, so you could well do. You could go for something to hunt down these Lost Vikings, especially as they're going to be nasty around the map. So we shall see what goes on here as, these bans now. It's going to be healer bans surely here for the side, but it's going to be Mephisto instead, not wanting that damage to come out from the side of Team Cat Green.
Makes a lot of sense. I think the cage comboed with the damage of a Mephisto, just so oppressive in team fights. And whatever happens here now for Franco's Eggpostles, they're going to have to do something that's either a bit more melee focused or very weak to the Vikings. So really not wanting to have to play into both Maiev and Mephisto, both traditionally really strong into heavy melee front setups. I wonder if we'll see a Faustad as the response for something that can hunt those Vikings down, whilst also kind of taking that gust to be good against the Maiev engages.
Yeah, potentially. There we go. It's exactly that. And with a Diablo on top of it. Diablo could almost go burst build here as well. Obviously, Firestorm gets less value the less bodies there are around. And with Vikings, you can sometimes get more bodies, but often you have sort of less. It's often those 4v4s. And having a bit of burst means you can maybe hunt down little Eric the Swift, power charge him straight into a wall, and delete that health bar swiftly with an auto attack. So, we might see some adaptation here from the Dark Wolf.
He is so swift and so brave.
Oh!
Will he be caught out?
Kel'Thuzad here coming in from Suspect, and Team Cat Green really bringing the spice as it's going to be that off-lane Lost Vikings running around so much as Maiev, Kel'Thuzad, and Mal'Ganis try to just wombo combo whoever steps forward from the four-man of Franco's Eggpostles.
I'm slightly worried that a last pick Hanzo here opens up a Dragon Arrow and APOC, but they're not going to go for that. Instead, they're picking up this hammer on Coffee. Coffee, of course, does play from Oceania.
No, they don't anymore. They
Oh, they live in the UK now.
They're UK based now.
all this exciting ping talk.
Yeah.
I was going to justify his pick based on the fact he couldn't react fast, but now when he messes up, he hasn't got an excuse. What a mistake! What a blunder! Moving out of the nice sunny Oceania into the United Kingdom. Don't know who's done that. Never mind. Hammer. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm worried that Kel'Thuzad might punish it.
I think certainly it could be a potential, but I wonder if we'll see Sergeant Hammer in the top lane and the rest of the team elsewhere. Let's have a look as we get into game number 1 here of our semi-final in this qualifier. And here for the blue team, it is Franco's Eggpostles with TV Coffee on the Sergeant Hammer, Saphiro on Brightwing, the Dark Wolf on the Diablo, Not Prepared on Blaze, and Protoss Frank here on Falstad.
Finally, Saphiro is playing that Brightwing, whereas the red team, you have got Nevers on the white man, HJ Hard on all 3 of the Vikings. He's making his life very HJ Hard indeed. HDJ Hard, there's a D in there. Suspects on the Kel'Thuzad. Shao on the Maiev, and Draco Click on Batman. He's Mal'Ganis.
Look, if I was going to pronounce it incredibly wrong, I'd go for Choo Choo. But as there is an A in there, we do have, by the way, chains coming out from level 1 here for the Kel'Thuzad. So they're really looking to get a little bit of CC on here, maybe slow people down as we have Balog taken out. Sergeant Hammer already starting in this bot lane. But yeah, I am wondering whether one of these assassins, if not, it could look like Falstad even, will be sat in this top lane trying to pressure the Lost Vikings right back into their wall and really look to get pressure elsewhere on the map, as of course this red team is very much a team fight based composition, especially not going Q at level 1. They are much looking for the picks of the blue team rather than getting any sort of individual pressure on the lanes themselves.
Yeah, I think this Hammer has picked more of a bot anchor than top pressure. Coffee. Getting away with it there. Thought he was in a lot more danger than he actually was. Draco Click, unfortunately, not able to follow up on that tether. But yeah, Hammer's just a little bit too difficult to rotate on, or too easy to rotate onto when you've got something like a Maiev that could step up and pressure her out. But you can see already, although the Falstad is getting value top, Suspect is just repeatedly pushing his Q onto that tower. Falstad, though, 2 Viking kills already. He is hungry for Viking.
Yeah, and look, little Eric the Swift here, perhaps forsaking their health bar as being a bit bigger than they thought. But not prepared here now on the side. This is a little bit of a team fight. The red team want these team fights. They absolutely want to try and get their stacks bring up. And they want to try and get these picks off. But the Dark Wolf was away for a long time. This is a really nice cleanse from Saphiro. Absolutely in time. And just before those chains were able to latch onto them as well. So well played here by the Blues, keeping themselves alive and still consistently pressuring up in these other lanes.
6 stacks for Kel'Thuzad is not a terrible start for him right now, and they have built more pressure in this bottom lane than the top lane, but another pick off on a Viking is slowly adding to the macro value of the Falstad, and also that AA build gets so many stacks every time a Viking dies. It means that he might potentially be a bit of a monster as the game continues.
Oh, Sergeant Hammer falling asleep means that a chain is out and available. It's not connecting to Brightwing. Really good dodge here by Saphiro. A good rotation by Not Prepared means that they're peeled out. Damage goes on to Chachao. And we now see Diablo equally going in. Lots of these members of the red team falling low, and the Chaos just not able to sustain these red teams. White Mane getting a little bit too much pressure to easily heal them up, as now Sergeant Hammer also with that Unstoppable able to avoid a fair amount of the CC that the red team has.
Yeah, no, nicely done here. The blue team definitely need to be accurate in the bottom lane if they want to avoid any of these deaths. But as it stands, Falstad is picking off these Vikings consistently, and as long as you can do that, it makes it a lot better for you in this game. As Diablo has found mine, but Hammer has been caught out by Suspect. Maybe some slightly suspect positioning there. Falstad is flying in. Protoss Frank trying to turn this around, but maybe that fly was more aggressive than he wanted. Brightwing is just about going to be able to connect that Z. As Shashao has to be so careful on that Maiev. Dark Wolf is looking to punish him. It is going to be the Diablo, not going to see too much individual blow up. Blaze has to be careful here though as well, as he's trying to buy time for this objective. wanting to queue that oil and then didn't have the mana, but he's been caught out. He's giving at least a stack, but I think he wasn't prepared for that much engage, and he is going to go down as well, Trans.
I was going to say that I really like how the blue team didn't play too long and slow. You know, they as soon as they realized the Vikings were starting to get a bit too much value, they quickly peeled away. But Blaze stayed around for a long time, and as you noted, was completely out of mana by the end of it. But it is interesting to see. Yeah, we have got this E build, the W build from Diablo. Sergeant Hammer waiting out the chains here. Oh, and it was a dance with death. The suspect has been playing this Kalthazad impeccably and is looking to really pick up a few kills from this enemy team. But they're out of mana. They will need to go back. And this bot lane siege has stopped from the red team.
Yeah, I think that the Blaze just had one of those moments where his plan was to queue the oil and leave completely safely, and then he pushed Q. His plan didn't work because he didn't have the mana for Q. And in those moments, I think that's when we make our worst decisions, when what we wanted to do, what we had in our mind isn't going to work. And I think he had the wrong value in his mind on that interrupt. It would have been nice, don't get me wrong, but it's so not necessary. Oh my god, Falstad is just farming this Viking top lane.
I almost wish that if Blaze didn't have any mana and you tried to press Q, it would just sort of go and let out a little bit of just empty air, as you have like in the end of an aerosol can. But the Dark Wolf now getting a lot of stacks from that level 4. It's keeping them alive for a little bit. Meanwhile, Brightwing able to port in, gets slept briefly by those hands out from Mal'Ganis. Sergeant Hammer now dancing around. Has to use their Unstoppable to avoid any sort of funny business from Mal'Ganis. And it's Kalthazad who goes down from this additional damage right before this objective appears. And that's a great timing here for the blue team as they also get level 10. A BFG not quite confirming the kill for the Blues.
That is a very, very blunt force gun there. Very big freaking gun indeed. As, Hammer has been caught out in the disc top side. I don't think Brightwing's going to have enough to save it, but maybe the Gust will be enough alongside that Unstoppable. Whitemane has been caught out a bit. Dark Wolf not quite able to get a good enough lightning breath on that, as poor Eric just being annoying in that back, forcing the attention as Protoss Frank is just like, right, Eric, time for you to become another stack for me. But the main fight carries on as actually Eric does escape and is bringing friends. Oh, they're going to look to try and get a really nice flank in here on that team. But without talents, without the late game, that thing has just turned into a dead Balog.
Yeah, the gang's all here, but the gang quickly dissipates. Is not prepared. Does manage to get that last bit of channel. However, they are now stuck between a rock and a hard place. But Hard's in the other lane on the Vikings still. Oh, it's a great interrupt. Mal'Ganis not able to channel that dark conversion. The blue team walking forward now. Maiev falling low, able to get a little bit of Unstoppable, but it's going to be a blow up from Suspect, meaning not prepared is also in danger after a good kill on Falstad. The blue team looking strong, but the red team fighting back even in the jaws of death, and a BFG takes down Kalthazad.
Oh man, sometimes I wonder if our casts are just a competition.
Sorry, Luca, you're going to have to speak up. I'm going to just point it out there.
Sometimes I wonder if our casts are just a competition as to who can get the worst possible puns involved. Very nicely done there, though, by the blue team. Kalthazad was able to scam a pick on the way out, but they found those kills. Hammer being used fantastically by Coffee there, not actually sieging up for the fight, being able to orb walk or AA move forward slowly, and then the BFG is securing kills for them there. I think the red team really need to find slightly better engages, and I think they've got a lot of tech picks, but maybe there's too much tech and not enough brute power, and they're struggling to find the angles that they are looking for. The Gust in particular really shutting down a lot of what they want to do, as Hammer almost getting caught out there by that spike. She is going to survive. She is going to walk away here, and now very deep into the tower, but the camp does go through, and Falstad has come down here though. Oh, the Gust gets judged.
Yeah, really nice play here, but they get so much damage onto Kalthazad. It feels unreal. 25 stacks here on level 1, and every AA just seems to shred through a health bar without them having blocked. Vikings now coming down to get a quick interrupt, quick channel, but Protoss Frank is going to be there to get that interrupt. Meanwhile, Brightwing channeling the bottom one. Blue team really putting on a show, and Franco's Eggpostles are looking very strong here in game number 1 so far.
Yeah, I think they've really got down in their mind a plan for when this Vikings comes out. And you can see both the Faustad and the Blaze are executing a slightly different Towers of Doom incredibly well. Not prepared, living mostly in the bot lane, providing protection for Coffee on that hammer, whilst up top, Faustad is just absolutely smashing those Vikings in what one might almost call a 1-1-3 transparent.
Yeah, and we've had long talks about 1-1-3. It was one of our favourite strategies that we talked about lots in Season 24 of Heroes Lounge in private chats. But yeah, it's doing absolute work, and this shows that the good players' adaptation is absolutely key. Not many teams would say, right, let's stick Faustad in this top lane. They'd be thinking maybe we can have them mid, fly up top to get a quick kill on a Viking. But no, they've just stayed top for a lot of the time, flying down for the important team fights, and they are almost netting themselves a whole bell tower. In fact, they are going to get it right here, right now. And they're just going to be able to do something else in the map now. As bot lane, we did see a BFG fly across the minimap, and blue team have been defending this slowly but surely as the red team try and make a play every single time.
Yeah, there is so much potency on this red team. Any small mistake from the blue team can seriously cost them. But so far, Dark Wolf, Coffee, and Sphero have played really well. There's another huge fly from Protoss flank is going to put so much damage out here. Dark Wolf falling very low, but not low enough. He is getting some health back, and they are looking to get more kills. Shadow going down on that Maya. That is 2 kills already. Whitemane is going to fall, and I do not see Mal'Ganis making it out of here alive. As I don't think we've talked about this before, but it is a dark conversion pick on the Mal'Ganis.
Yeah, it seems to be like just the favorite of some Mal'Ganises, where they just get a little bit of extra value. Meanwhile, by the way, the Vikings were able to completely zone out Faustad's rotation back up. Of course, Fly was used down to get down to the bottom. So Vikings picking up the 2 objectives, getting 6 points on the enemy's core, but most importantly, denying what potentially could have been 12 points taken off theirs.
Yeah, the denial is very valuable, but I think the blue team are more interested now in the 6 cap than they are in those altars, as they just need that mid fort to start shelling away on the core. Hammer's BFG being used for wave clear just to try and stop the Vikings from being able to recap the top as fast. Faustad is now rotating in to look after his building. This is a half health bell tower in mid. This is a very scary position, but they have sent Coffee away to do a camp. They're going to try and push that in instead. I'm not sure I like that decision as much.
Yeah.
I suppose they think they can't force their way in. Maybe they're hoping to draw the attention elsewhere, but if you were going to do a camp, why not push in the camp you already had?
It does feel a little bit like that. You know, they're already being distracted. You can surely wait for Kel'Thuzad to be in that bot lane potentially, and then, you know, re-show Hammer in the mid lane to get that last little bit of damage that they need. But yeah, everything seems to be a little bit off as Vikings now come back to that top lane to try and poke it down. Meanwhile, the Dark Wolf has engaged onto Drow Click, and it is going to be a stun attempt. Mal'Ganis will be able to get a decent engage here. This may be a little bit too much as Blink Heal comes out very clutch here. Diablo far too deep, and will have a little bit of trouble, but not without taking down Whitemane. That burst from Diablo without even the burst build is enough. Maiev now able to get a little bit of value against a Brightwing and a Diablo, but so many low health bars here for the red team just means that the blue team are able to get those vital kills. And not this time, Vikings. They've gone for the triple cap, but Hammer is here in the top lane. Brightwing is there in the bot. However, Sergeant Hammer getting taken down here, Luca.
Yeah, no, nice pick by Suspect. Protoss Frank is able to trade that 1-for-1. There is still enough health on the core that the red team can leave this alone, but the real threat is that if the blue team do manage to cap that mid building, they might never be able to get a tower back, and you can see Blazes walking towards that now. All Vikings dead. Mal'Ganis 5 seconds away, 30 on Kel'Thuzad. Diablo has been count out in this top side in a disc, but I think the writing might be on the wall here, Trans.
Yeah, Faustad able to put that damage in the mid lane. This is just going to be a countdown to doom. Yeah, all Vikings getting caught out. Obviously, it was a very greedy play to try and get all 3 captures, and they were punished for it. Bunker now coming down to do some more body blocks. Maiev able to blink over the top of it. Protoss Frank, though, now just channeling away as disruption is done by both Diablo and Blaze. A huge bombardment onto this core, and with 2 more shots left on it, it is going to be GG, well played. Game number 1 going over to Franco's Eggpostles. Oh, and what a display. What a great Towers of Doom game to kick off this series.
Yeah, very nicely done there in the end by Franco's Eggpostles. I think definitely Team Cat turned up with what they hoped was going to be a real rug pull strategy. And it turns out that the rug slipped out of their hands as they went to grab it. And Team Franco's Eggpostles looked at them and went, "Not so fast, friends. We know exactly what you're trying to do."
Here we go. Game number 2 on Infernal Shrines in the Eggs Cup. Qualifier 1, semi-finals. Franco's Eggpostles here, 1-0 up against Team Cat Green. They are looking to see how they can win this and go towards the grand finals and, of course, get those magic points.
They are very magical, those points. It'll be interesting to see if the Maiev is allowed through again, whether they viewed that as a problem. Like the hammer that Coffee played really quite well. Is he going to be allowed to be in the tank again, or are they going to remove that very early? I think the Genji is going to be a lower priority ban than it was on Towers of Doom. Probably you can afford to play into the Genji a little bit more than you could on a more macro-intensive map. But 3 seconds left. Transits had just enough time to find Toki's stream to see what their plan is.
No, I'm not doing that at all. My head was in the fairies, though. You're absolutely right to call me out there. As I got completely lost on my way to doing the predictions. That's what I was going to be doing.
Production. There's nothing quite like production for some task paralysis, is there? Hogger going to be banned by the first pick team. Let's give a little bit of a tell as to whether they either have a very distinct plan or they just don't really like the Hogger. Sylve is going to be the counter ban here. She's very strong. I like that they're not giving her up easily. I wonder now what we'll see as our divergence or as our continuance. I'd like to see, I don't know, I'd almost like to see the same draft from Team Cat Green, but with just like no Vikings and a little bit more engage threat. Yeah. Maybe the Kel'Thuzad was a step too far.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is all about that engage, and Mal'Ganis can engage very well from the shadows. They have to come from a bush. They have to come from a bit of surprise. Kel'Thuzad's looking just to basically do that fishing hook style that Stitches does, but it is Kel'Thuzad instead. And Maiev can help a little bit, but the blue team was playing so well in terms of splitting up and making sure that they weren't going to get caught out by that Maiev.
That hammer pick as well was a very good spot, I think, by Coffee. It made it so difficult for Hammer and Mal'Ganis to find engages. The little boop almost always perfectly timed upon arrival if it was needed, and it also just makes it harder for them to walk into the space. So if they are going to play something like that, I think they need an answer for the Hammer, and Junkrat is a pretty strong Hammer answer. Suspect picking that up straight away. Not going to see anything like Kel'Thuzad here. Very strong pick, and so much Shrine Clear, so much tank control. It's very annoying. Yeah,
that Riptire can really get right into the middle of a team fight, especially on the Shrine, claiming a lot of those minions if it's a close one towards the end. And very good pickup. Equally nice and annoying, but someone who is unstoppable is Leoric. They can get themselves going quite nicely. And Tychus, another hero who, of course, can pop that Odin, maybe even get some siege damage during a push, or just claiming that Shrine. And it dissuades the Diablo, potentially. A lot of tanks don't like playing into Tychus, but I'm pretty sure Team Cat Green will feel fairly comfortable picking something up. But that is a hefty bit of percent damage. Oh, is it the Cho'Gall they're scared of? They're scared of Cho'Gall, right? Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I guess it's an anti-Cho'Gall rotation. Tychus is really good on the map. Tychus Leo does kind of encourage your opponents to pick a less meta tank, and we can see Tyrael coming out for a Drow Click already, wanting to take that before the ban phase, so they have accomplished that goal. Be interesting to see where this draft pivots now, because Leoric Tychus is an incredibly stable platform. They really haven't shown much of their hand. You could put Protoss Frank on something more standard, like a Mephisto right now. You could look for something a little bit more aggressive, try and find something a little bit odd, a little bit more niche. We're going to see the Valor getting banned out here. I like that. I think that the Rhaegar and the Tyrael is too much safety that provided to the Valor already, and I like this Garrosh ban in return. Tyrael does not want to have his space controlled too aggressively, but Diablo is now completely open for the Dark Wolf if he wants it. Yeah, it definitely feels like a Diablo trap almost here from the red team. You wouldn't ban... I mean, Garrosh and Tyrael, there's a bit of a love-hate relationship, certainly, but it sort of feels like, right,
I'm open to do this. We've got the percentage damage. There's no chance of Tyrael being off lane and somehow Garrosh being there. And Anduin coming in as well. Diablo now feels very safe to go for those heavy engages. But Malthael was the plan all along. Try and get that person down. And what will we see Chachao go for?
Yeah, interesting to see what this last pickup's going to be. I think they need something that can put a little bit more pressure onto that Diablo so that when he's booped in, Malthael and that pick can play for them more successfully. It's going to be the Mephisto, a big damage pump. I wonder, though, if that was as much a denying pick as it was a pick that they wanted for themselves.
Yeah, so obviously this Mephisto could have gone in any draft here. We saw the power of it in game number 1 today with the Norwegian team. And Protoss flank might be thinking about a Chromie, which is still up and available. Would slot well into their draft. It's going to be the Genji instead. Slicing...
Protoss Frank isn't going to play no passive Chromie when Genji's on the field. You got to be kidding. He can see that Diablo engage. He knows the Lightning Breath is going to chunk, and he's like, yeah, I'll finish them off. Very low health team as well to play that Genji into. Tyrael, not a high health tank. Malthael, a really squishy offlaner. I think that potentially Protoss Frank is going to have a field day.
Yeah, absolutely, Candy. There's not a lot to shut them down, but of course predictions are up and available. Get your predictions in that chat right now. As we are 1-0 up in this best of three series, can the Franco's Eggpostles close it out, or will Team Cat Green be going to that last deciding map in this semi-final qualifier? Get your predictions in. I love to see the predictions, and it was so good to have so many in game number 1. Let's see as we get in game here in this best of 3 series. And for the side of the blue team, we have Franco's Eggpostles. Luca, take it away.
We have got the Dark Wolf on Diablo. Protoss Frank is going to be Genji. And when being brought to us by Sephiro, we're going to have the Dark Wolf on Diablo and Tychus. None other than TV Coffee.
And over on the red team, it is going to be Team Cat Green with Hard on the Malthael. We have Suspect on the Junkrat. Chachao on Malthael, not Malthael. Oh my god, I've just forgotten. Mephisto, thank you. Dracolic on Tyrael and Neves on the Rhaegar. Gosh, I've just got.
I can do both teams if that's what we need. You know.
I've just completely forgot what Mephisto's name were. It's been a long day. We literally went straight into this after work, as we do have Hard starting to feel the punish here. They are all about sustain, but they cannot get through that burst. And Genji is trying to make sure those finishing blows happen. And as we see, Protoss Frank actually in a little bit of danger from the Mephisto damage, but they are able to get away this time.
Not sure he'll thank Anduin for that grip there, bringing him into more danger than it got him out of. But Protoss Frank, a little bit of an expert. He's going to be fine getting his way around there. Little bit of an adaptation from Coffee, though. Press the advantage on level 1 Tychus.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of grenade, especially as the Tychus, honestly, is kind of the wave clear here, right? And yeah, Leoric now is the sole wave clear for the blue team. It will help with that single target sort of damage when they want to get that target finished off, which is maybe what their plan is here. You know, make sure they get that target that they want to kill very, very low.
I think it does make it just a little bit more difficult for the Tyrael to play into him as well. He can control the space around him just a little bit better. And I think that extra range is probably what Coffee's valuing. Also, into the W Rhaegar, it's going to be a little bit more complicated for them to get that damage stacking up on him. So going to have to commit one way or the other.
Yeah, meanwhile, Junkrat is just happy clearing out this wave. And I mean, this is where we might see this wave clear advantage be for the red teams. Silver lining, perhaps, as we do have a good route onto Drowclick. Yeah, Junkrat will be able to clear out these waves very quickly. TV Coffee and Protoss Frank having to put a lot of effort into this camp in the middle, whereas it's already completely gone, thanks to Junkrat earlier. Decent cleanse here means the Junkrat's allowed to put a bit more damage onto Diablo, but they are going to get away. And Genji tries to find something additionally here against the red team, but no such luck.
Yeah, Protoss Frank is still looking for those angles, but unfortunately the opponent is just a little bit too healthy. We're rolling into that level 4. We can see More commitment from Tychus going into that. Well, I guess all of his talents are AA based, but that Master Assassin, it looks like he's just trying to set up the most powerful Odin he possibly can. He's going to have that bonus attack speed, that bonus attack range. He's going to try and shell that Odin on the shrine against these opponents, whilst also having that nice range for the Mephisto. And, to be honest, and the Malthael and the Tyrael. I quite like Coffee's adaptation here.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes through and how it really does pressure some of these heroes, as we see Tyrael getting the pressure now in that mid stage. But it is down in the bot lane right now where the action is happening. Protoss Flank falling low, and this red team trying to make a little bit of a push happen on the complete opposite side to where the objective is, pulling that blue team away. And as we already talked about, this wave clear is not going to be enough to quickly dispatch of these things, and they will be lagging behind this now fast rotating red team.
Yeah, lots of good macro pressure coming out here from them. But the red team are going to get their full team up first. Coffee is in a little bit of danger here. He can kind of shuffle himself over. Tychus' dash is one of the funniest little movement spells in the game. It's not a full-on roll like a Valstad. It's not even a vault. It's just a little shimmy away to the side. But can he shimmy away enough? Saphira having to put a lot of healing into Coffee here to keep him up in this fight. The buttons are being committed. There's so much AoE damage on that red team. All of the blue health bars are falling lower and lower, but not quite low enough just yet. Genji is going in, trying to generate some space. There's a 5 shrine minion lead, but not prepared. There's not anymore. There's not. Really close in this early shrine phase. Has Xiao Xiao gone a little bit deep there? No, he's going to be just about fine, and it looks like the blue team have to back away as a nice objective secured by Team Kakari.
Yeah, and this was their advantage they needed to take, especially as their heroes are quite late game. If they lose these early objectives, Genji is just going to be putting on a lot of pressure onto them. But right now, red team able to find something. Root comes out, a Punisher as well with the roots, and Saphira has to use that leap of faith to get Diablo out of danger. Meanwhile, Draugr being body blocked, a lot of damage going on to them as well, and they will have their armor reduced. Genji now is the target of the Punisher. Was able to use their Protect for a little bit of safety. However, it just is damage going everywhere apart from this Punisher. And because of that, this fort is going to go down, Luca.
Yeah, first fort from the objective. A very nice win for Team Cat Green, but they just have not let up this pressure at all. Mephisto is so good at putting damage out over the wall when they can win the early protector, and I mean the frozen Punisher as well, making it so much easier for them to walk into that shrine. A nice lead, but you can see the XP is almost dead even. There's only a kill in favor of the blue team right now. Definitely not time to count Franco's Eggpostles out.
No, so they do have some level of way of coming back here. You know, Genji can do a little bit of a big splash. We've talked about already how the red team are a very squishy team, and if there is a big 5v5 team fight, especially around level 10 where we might have an entomb, might have that lightning breath available, a lot of control is going to be able to give Genji the opportunity to get that damage out that they really want to on the targets that they absolutely do want to take down. But red team here using that pre-10 aggression that we've seen them have already to zone out and try and get this siege camp here.
Yeah, a lot of nice aggression and strong positioning there, recognizing the Tychus within the top lane, so they had a license to engage as a nice route. Catches Diablo, he will be gripped. Last rites is so close to enough. Not quite though, but they might have regretted that because that meant Leoric was able to cast his E way more comfortably. Would have fallen to right sweat, of course. Diablo did not. Tens are now in though for the blue team as well. The light bomb is ready, so is X-Strike. Here's the Entomb, but there is a huge sanctification on top of it. HD Hard though, not living long enough for the Ancestral, and here is that Odin that we talked about. So much attack range.
Yeah, and it's going to do absolute wonders. We talked about Malthael being squishy as well, and because they weren't quite in that sanctification, they were able to be depleted of their health bar. Still, though, the red team look for more control against this Diablo. 75 spell armor does save them for a lot of damage, but they are still getting this pressure put on them. Meanwhile, Chao looks for something, finds the Diablo who takes the bullet for Genji, but still, this could be a Diablo taken down here if the red team are able to find it, and they do indeed. Those souls are reset, the XP is given over, and the red team maybe have a little bit of momentum for them to keep going and try and get this middle fort.
Little bit of an overextension there from the blue team as Diablo does get caught out there in that route. Dark Wolf having his souls reset. He's not going to be happy about that. So much less health than there was before. Thank you very much, by the way, Chance. I was very happy with that one. You can see it in my eyes. They you know, the chat, they don't see it, but I'm sure you see the faces that get pulled when the pun comes.
It's a shame that you don't get to see my face because I've got a beaming smile right now, Luca. Level 11 to a quick level 12 here. Red team even having time to claim this bruiser camp. That's going to be pushing in that top lane a little bit. Meanwhile, this bottom camp actually didn't get taken care of by the blue team. Coffee overstaying potentially a little bit as Tyrael will be able to put a fair amount of damage. Still, out comes that Durance of Hate. Doesn't quite connect onto Coffee, who is a bit further away than perhaps expected. And the red team trying to make something happen a bit earlier. It's a bit rough, but they have indeed put enough damage onto Coffee that they have to tap. The blue team...
Health bar's chunked, but Leo's got that 10 shrine minion lead, and that sometimes is enough when the Odin comes in. You can see Coffee has found the window. Protoss Frank with the light bomb on the Genji, though. No one was in the way, and a big engage from HD Hard is going to take down that Tychus Odin. Look at that, the fight now devolving underneath the fort as the red team are going in deep, but the entomb is going to be enough to trade it out. The sanctification did get cancelled by the Dark Wolf 1-for-1. Odin is a big pull down to lose, but the Malthael falling later means that the blue team are feeling comfortable, starting to walk back in at first. Maybe not, though. It's only Dark Wolf and Anduin, and the grip is not available. 40 seconds. Dark Wolf is very much by himself. I think maybe some slight miscommunication there about whether we were macroing or fighting.
Yeah, additionally, you know, they didn't really have their Tychus, who's their main shrine clear, their main person, putting on a bit of damage, a bit of clear around it. They can't quite go for those fights as easily without him. Still, he's back. Diablo back in 10 seconds, but I think this objective is safely in the hands of the red team. And Team Cat Green are showing up this map, Luca. They are showing up and they are looking to push down this mid lane and maybe try and take a keep as well, as this fort is all but gone.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push into this fort. There's not a great opportunity to defend. Protoss Frank might burn his E to try and tag the jump here, just so they can get some damage on it. I think that's a sensible choice, although, of course, you do need to keep a very careful internal clock now on when the next jump is available. As this fort does fall, we're probably going to see them all walk behind the keep. But have a little look at Not Prepared. He's on the flank there on that Leoric, hoping someone's going to overstep. But right now, it's just a Junkrat material. Both of them can get out of an entomb really easily, so he's gone up to soak in that top.
Yeah, red team have opted for a double fort play, Luca. They've gone for bot fort and mid fort, just completely opening that map up. There is zero safety here for the blue team, and they will not have an easy healing well to go to during those objectives, or just pre-objective, as Chow tries to find Protoss Frank with that Durance of Hate, but not quite connecting. Still, a massive minion wave here, and Odin has to be popped because guess what? They don't have decent wave clear abilities, Luca, and they have to use Odin literally to clear out this camp.
They are Odining for the camp, but there is some compensation. This is going to be the last time they fight before they're 16 anyway. Odin's definitely going to be back for the shrine, so I think they figure, why not? Maybe we'll get some value from it, and maybe they will indeed. Malthael again, just outside the edge of the sanctification. Xiao Xiao not quite able to connect these Durances as Genji, Protoss Frank, 16 health as he runs away. Rhaegar wants him so badly, maybe too badly. He's gone too deep, and although the Leo does fall, this is now a 2-for-1 trade. Coffee is drilling the Tyrael down as hard as he can, but has he got enough survivability? Never mind, he is a Tiger, 75 spell armor. Thank you very much. Protoss Frank did get a reset, though, and that is Suspect taken down as well.
Yeah, the cats, they dove too deep. They awoken something that was in the blue side of the map, and that was Franco's Eggpostles here, as they are coming back into this game, and this is going to give them that breather, that moment for them to find their feet, to say, look, right, let's claim some camps, let's try and push out these waves. With level 16 to level 16, Leo is getting that auto attack build now on a line. We have the additional swift psych damage, of course, from Genji. That final cut will help in getting those kills that have just narrowly evaded them earlier on this season, and of course Tychus getting sizzling attacks, and let's not forget debilitating flames from Diablo, which can be such a punishing talent, especially into a heavy melee team when we see Rhaegar, Malthael, and Tyrael all diving together on a single target.
Mephisto as well, often up close, taking a lot of those W's, is going to see his damage reduced, and the Dark Wolf is going to really try and mute the potential of the red team in fights. I am curious with those sizzling attacks if we're going to see anything other than Odin on 20. I'm pretty confident it would be wrong. I think it's just avoiding the nade 16 without the nade 1. You've got to kind of synergize your talent choices there. But Draco Click is a little bit deep. Xiao, oh, the root again, not quite connecting. Very optimistic here. He knows his tank and his offlaner both aren't going to give him setup for that root, and so he's just trying to make sure he gets, or you know, any opportunity he can to find a window. Speaking of windows, Dark Wolf is wondering if he can go in on this camp. It's a lovely little choke, but unfortunately not quite high up enough in time to go. Tyrael does get caught out here, and look at how fast he can melt now. Genji diving in. There is going to be an Ancestral. The Sank comes down, but Xiao caught out in the Entomb. What a fantastic catch by Not Prepared. Mephisto falls. His shade not safe. Mathiel is currently shrining, but he is not going to get that shrine done in time. As Fredos Frank is actually saying, you know what, we've got so much time, I think I'm just going to reset.
Yeah, half on mana, half on HP, but the Dark Wolf now equally down a little bit. They heal themselves up with those flames, but Hard is looking to try and find something. The curtain not quite connecting with Coffee, and they will not be able to find their last rights target that they so desperately wanted. Meanwhile, Tyrael is falling low. They haven't had Sanctification for a while, and they won't be having it for 50 seconds. This is danger for the red team, as any sort of engage from the Blues could mean lights out for a couple of their heroes. Hard falls low, not prepared, tries to find something, but a quick heal from Neves means that Diablo is instead the one who falls in this 4 versus 5 team fight.
So much damage put out by that Malthael. If they don't find the lockdown, if they don't get that initial engage right, it's so difficult for the blue team. And again, the red team are able to pick up this Punisher. They're not up on kills in the game, but they've been able to get them when it matters, Trans. And this is going to let them start knocking on that keep. And it's getting to the point now where Franco's Eggpostles are going to have to win a fight at that crucial moment, at the right time, or they are going to start falling, I think, just a little bit too far behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Tyrael. Okay, no, he's got damage. It's all good.
He's
it's
right.
all good.
Yeah, we're not going to...
He got me, chat. I got.
Oh, look after yourself, Luca, as we do have this Mortar Punisher in the top lane. 15 minutes in. This will punch fairly hard, and it's going on to Tychus right now. But it's this keep that we need to worry about. So much siege damage has been done by the red team, and relatively zero has been done by the blues. They really wanted this objective, but unfortunately they didn't quite find it. Still, Tychus is trying to clear it out with this Odin. Level 19 to 19. Keep goes down, and this Punisher is still relatively healthy. The red team could find themselves a double keep play here if they wanted, or they can face the core, perhaps, if they get a kill or two.
Yeah, Punisher just low enough. The Genji's going in with 19 and 9/10 on the opposing side. A second Mephisto route comes out. The Sank is so good. Oh no, have they gone just too early here? I think Franco's Eggpostles were not quite patient enough. They didn't want to play the game down a keep, and it turns out they're not going to have to, because this is going to be tying the series up. Team Cat Green 1 apiece.
Oh, what a great series we have here today, Luca.
Fantastic. I think Franco's Apostles were a little bit too eager to go there in the end. Maybe not quite accounting for the Punisher. Maybe hoping Mephisto's route wasn't quite back yet. But they saw their macro position was a bit dire, and they thought, if we can get them just before they're 20 with a big Genji engage, maybe something can happen. But alas, the Odin wasn't ready. They just didn't quite have the tools they needed. And
you definitely wouldn't, as we do have this game number 3 here between Franco's Eggpostles and Team Cat Green. We've seen really good games out of both of these teams. And, you know, Franco's Eggpostles dismantled the draft of Team Cat Green in game number 1. Team Cat Green just played that second game so much clean. They weren't caught out by what Franco's Eggpostles were putting down. And so this one really is the decider between these two. You know, it absolutely... I could see both of these teams in the Eggs Cup Grand Final on the 30th of November.
Yeah, I definitely think that the way that they macroed through that Shrines game, they didn't look like they had any weaknesses or any strengths in the team fights. They were so close consistently, but after every fight, Cat Green were just able to walk away with what was important. When it mattered, they took those punishes, and I think if they can keep that up, if they can keep doing that, they're going to see them go really, really far. But slightly different map here. Tomb of the Spider Queen going to have slightly different macro kills, and immediately Eggpostles is just like, that Mephisto hero, we don't want it, you're not allowed to get rid of it.
Yeah, so Valor also gone here. That main dueling, sort of brawling hero eliminated from this draft.
Wonder if we'll see Hammer play a role here. Very well played by Coffee in map 1 and can be incredibly oppressive on Tomb of the Spider Queen if she can comfortably arrive at late game. She's a little bit punishable. Earlier on, you need to pick some quite nice rotation to get her to 7 at least. But definitely up there as one of the possible picks. Sylvanas not going to be allowed to see play in this game here, though. Transparent, I think it's Xiao Xiao who plays quite a good Sylv. It's been a little while since I played against the Cats. But they just don't want to see it.
I believe it is. I think you're absolutely right there. I mean, Sylvanas can be a powerhouse on this map as well. You know, getting those early pushes, really doing a lot of work. So, yeah, it can be very, very good. And Johanna getting banned here means that tanks are going to be potentially limited. Diablo might be a higher priority here for the Dark Wolf. Of course, Garrosh still up and available to be picked against them.
I think Junkrat and Tychus are two assassins that have to be on the minds of Eggpostles right now. Tychus helps control the tank pick, but you did just lose the Tychus game. Junkrat looked very strong in the hands of the opponent, and it is going to be Junkrat that they go for in the end. But you could see some thought going into that there. We can pretend in our minds that Tychus was the other option. Junkrat's going to make it very difficult with the Johanna ban to pick another alternative. It felt almost forced, though, by Team Cat when they banned that Johanna. They're inviting that Junkrat pick. They're saying, look, we're not going to pick the best answer. We're going to force you to take that first. And so what are they going to do with that? What are they going to pick up that their opponents couldn't? Okay.
It's going to be Stitches and Anduin, Luca. They are looking to kidnap somebody, it seems. And Tomb of the Spider Queen's a great map for that, you know. Obviously, if you're able to protect your external structures, you can just sort of bring them in and eliminate them that way. But, I mean, do you think Stitches is going to be able to get around this Junkrat okay?
So far, whenever I've doubted a Stitches, it's won. And whenever I've come back around and said, okay, maybe the Stitches can do something, it's been absolutely destroyed. So I'm confident that whatever I say won't happen. I don't know if that's meta enough that it can apply twice now, but that does mean I get to claim I'm right no matter what, which was very tactical by me, and I'm quite proud of myself for that. I like the Muradin. It could have been a Nubrak to web the Stitches. The Muradin is a lot better, though, in the broken fights, so if the Stitches does get the Gorge off, and then we start fighting 4v4 or 3v3 later, Muradin has a lot of value there. We're going to see Lucio getting banned. I wonder if they're going to look for Brightwing, a healer that's less vulnerable to the hooks and also can try and save tanks if they get in a little bit deep. I quite like the Dahaka as well from Not Prepared. Strong macro option and the ability to dodge hooks very easily with a button.
Yes, yeah. It does make a lot of sense banning out this Lucio, and it could give us a little bit of an inkling into what DPS they're hoping for. Obviously some level of CC, but it is going to be a Blaze banned out. And with the blue team now feeling fairly cozy with their Dahaka Muradin frontline, they do have to think about what healers they also want. And that crucial last DPS. But let's see what Team Cat Green have. We have Nazebo! Oh, that's not the CC I was expecting, Luca. Team Cat Green coming out here.
Can't cleanse the zombie wall. Can't Dahaka E out of the zombie wall. And a Kerrigan. That's a bit more standard CC.
It is standard CC, but does it go well with the Stitches, you know? Like, Kerrigan obviously wants to look forward. Stitches is pulling back.
Kerrigan can just wait and combo whatever he hooks.
And a lot of people say, you know, it's good to have multiple levels of engage. You know, we saw this in game number 1. Sometimes having only one sort of form can be avoided. So Stitches misses the hook. Sometimes Kerrigan can go in and help satisfy that need for some level of engagement. We have Tychus rounding out the composition again here, looking to try and exploit perhaps the front line of Stitches and Kerrigan. But last pick here for hard. What would you be taking in this situation, Luca?
I mean, we need an offlaner. Blaze is off the table. Unfortunately, we're always a little bit sad about that. I don't know. Maybe a Urel could be kind of interesting, getting in behind the Tigers, in behind the Junkrat, making enough mess and enough noise that Stitches can then land those hooks more easily. Gonna be Rexar, though. Level 10, maybe. Hopefully, we're gonna see that engage with his ultimate, letting those balls out, making the hooks even easier to connect.
That's an interesting pickup here. Rexar, of course, can do some funny business. Helps with the engage with Kerrigan, of course. You can get a quick Misha stun, and then Kerrigan basically guaranteed to land their combo. But who is it going to go on? Is it going to try and get to that Tychus? That is the probable target I'm expecting. Of course,
maybe. I think they're just trying to be a bit more solid as well, though. I think they don't care too much about going first. They're just looking to get those hooks, and anyone that walks in has to walk past the bear. And once you walk past the bear, you're looking at combo, Anduin root, Nazebo wall, and probable death. Right? Yeah. So it's kind of trying to be solid whilst Stitches looks for those hooks. I think I like this theory, which therefore means it's instantly going to lose.
Well, let's see how they do as we go into game number 3 here on the Tomb of the Spider Queen. Franco's Eggpostles, it's 1-1, and they are here in blue. Protoss Frank on the Tychus, Saphiro on Decacane, Coffee on the Junkrat, Not Prepared on Hacker, and the Dark Wolf on the Muradin.
And our red team, Team Cat Green, they went 0-1 down, but they're pulling it back and looking to get through to the final of this qualifier. HDJ Hard is your Misha, playing that Rexar as well. Shishao FR on your Kerrigan suspect, and Nazebo Neverus on Anduin, and of course, Drowclick bringing the X Factor with Ditches.
Yeah, so we have these two teams. Please get your predictions in for which team you suspect is going to be winning this match, as we have decent engage coming in here from the red team, trying to find something, but it's just bruising up Junkrat for the time being.
Not enough faith there from Shishao. Could have got the W under before, but unfortunately a little bit late. Trying to get these stuns to connect with these hooks. You can see he's not even comboing them, but bot side, HD Hard caught out by Coffee and Not Prepared is going to be first blood. Nazebo has already gone up to the mid lane, but that is the risk you run with a Rexar. Coffee getting hooked, and Shasha says this time the combo is necessary, going to take him down. Going after Muradin as well. Kerrigan following that E in the way that she can. Such a long range engage, but no one's made it to the bottom lane yet, and so much XP got left behind when that lane got mistransed.
Yeah, the pressure is on now, as this is the last game of this best of 3. Oh, Drowclick has been hitting these hooks a lot so far in this game. Protoss Frank able to evade that one. Oh, it's a good attempt here. The root does land onto Coffee, and the damage is good, but unfortunately, it means that Kerrigan's in a little bit of trouble, as a Great Tongue seals the fate of Kerrigan. HJ Hard not able to do enough with Misha this time.
Combo over the wall, definitely a strong attempt, but I think once it didn't connect, Kerrigan had to leave it alone. Didn't have the stun on the Junkrat, so he was free to get the mine underneath both of them. And once she got displaced, another 20 seconds on grip meant that Anduin was never going to be able to get her truly out of the safe. Well played, though, by the blue team. Franco's Eggpostles able to fight well for that Egg Cup potential in their future.
Yes, of course. These teams are competing for an Egg Cup. It's a 3-stage qualification game. 3 qualifications and a grand final days for Egg Cups. And, of course, Movember charity awareness. So we are grateful for our teams for competing in this for quite a nonsensical prize. And speaking of which, Nazebo has gone down to this really good pressure coming out from the blue team in this game.
Yeah, very well played there. They had a lot of pressure up in that top side. Were able to take Nazebo down with that engagement. That is the risky one when you are out 2 in the top lane. The opponents can rotate in with Manny Moore, and Muradin and Deckard are both so good at setting up those engages. Kerrigan as well, though, looking for Tychus on the other way, trying to catch him out while he's a little bit deep. And they have got this camp crashing before the enemy camp is complete, which means they should get some decent value from it. Darkwolf trying to buy as much time as he can here on the Muradin, but at least in their defense. Stitches cannot hook over that wall, so they are going to be able to clear this camp up with not the worst damage you've ever seen taken on their buildings.
Yeah, Saphiro here, dotting potions here and there. And we've not really talked about this Deca Kane. They have gone for Ruby and Sapphire. And those potions have been keeping people alive for the time being. But blue team now pushing in quite aggressively. Chao lands combo on only the minions. And the Dark Wolf stuck inside a zombie wall is able to escape and goes after the bear here as they are able to take it down. Meanwhile, Protoss Frank in a little bit of danger. Combo will be up fairly soon for Kerrigan. So you have to be a bit careful. Level 7s, though, now here for them. And the red team still need plenty of work to get stacked on one. Nazebo, Kerrigan, and Rexar.
Yeah, a small lead building here for the blue team, but, you know, don't be conned. This red side, they have got a lot of power in a potential late game, no matter what the map looks like. Xiao little bit deep here. Protoss Frank just drilling away, but a helping hand from JRClick is going to bring him safety. Nazebo, unfortunately, does not have a lot of survival by himself. Is going to get caught. Can it be traded onto the Muradin? The rubies are enough. The hook on Saphiro going to try and play for him, but that won't be enough either. The blue team all feeling low, but the Deckard just has enough healing to get them through the worst of this. I think that was a really nice tech, a really nice choice in this game, saying I don't actually think the cleanse value is going to be big into the Stitches comp. Instead, we're going to try and make sure that we have as much healing as possible. But Kerrigan has been really caught out in this top lane. The grip is not going to be enough, unfortunately. But Tychus able to land that grenade, take that pick, and now Dark Wolf is just hammering away on this Nazebo, trying to make space for Saphiro to secure those gems. 2 away from the first turn in the game trends.
Oh, and they're going for a bit of a body block here on Stitches, and it is going to work out still, not without a lot of damage being dealt to Tychus and Muradin. They're going to have to back off a little bit. However, of course, that second wind healing Muradin right back up, but 2 gems away from the first turn in the game, and they are a whole level ahead. This is going to be a really good push attempt here for the blue team. Nazebo is going to have their work cut out, but oh, TV Coffee able to get away.
I do wish they'd actually delayed it a little bit, try and protected it a bit more so that these web weavers could have arrived as they hit level 10. As it is, they're not going to have their 10s up as they hit the ground. They might get them midway through the push, though, but they are going to have to sack that top lane before their 10s are available. Dark Wolf is trying to buy some space here. He is getting a little bit deep, though. Muradin has to be careful. There is a lot of potential CC on the side of the red team right now. But 10s are now in. It'll be interesting to see what we get. Deckard Kane, Lornado, going to try and control that Stitches as he plays for hooks and gorges. Otherwise, so far so sensible. Little bit of Tychus, Odin, little bit of Avatar, and some Riptide and ISO coming out.
I'm not sure what I think about Lornado. I think this is an interesting pickup. Maybe it's going to help dissuade Stitches from getting the gorges they want, but Stay a While and Listen could have been so effective against this red team. Big root coming out from Deca Kane, though, speaking of which, and Chao is going to be falling down lower and lower and does indeed get taken down by those long-ranged Odin attacks. A huge Riptide damages almost everybody on the red team, and Stitches is the next on the chopping block. This blue team using this level 10 advantage to such good effect.
Yeah, I wonder if Deckard was worried that Stay a While and Listen might turn into Stay a While and get gorged. Didn't want to put himself in a position where he was so easily a hook target. I don't know how much value I think the Lornado will get, but I think it's definitely a safer option, and it can be quite disruptive, especially against things like the Rexar, like the Kerrigan, and like the Stitches that are all low mobility and need to be quite close to the opponents to get the value that they're looking for.
So, blue team now with a siege camp taken at the bot lane, they're going to have a good control of the map. They've got a mid lane pushed in, bot lane pushed in, and top lane will be their next focus. Thinking about when can we maybe take a play for that boss. 9 kills to 1, and full level lead here, and the blue team have this game in full control. Reds are going to have a real hard time doing anything until that level 13 hits, and Stitches can finally make a very long hook.
But tactically losing their forts means that now they can get much further away from their opponents and still hook them in. So the red team playing the long game here by losing the early game.
It all pays off.
Caught out by a lick there. It all pays off. It all pays off. They had the plan. They committed. They got the plan.
Tychus here in a little bit of danger. Did have a ping on them from their team. Saying, you're a little bit far ahead there. I know you're trying to get a Misha kill, but Blues now have this Web Weaver wave. Once again, they have the Tychus Odin, Riptide as well, everything at their disposal. And a level 13 advantage. With this camp, maybe they can claim this mid keep. It's a classic strategy. Push mid to maybe get value top lane, as we do see the combo pop out on the Dark Wolf. However, it is Chachao who is actually in more danger at this moment in time.
Real smooth there from the Kerrigan, as he was able to get gripped away by the Anduin, not coming to under danger from that mine. But now the split pressure, the bot lane coming in here with Dahaka is going to force Kerrigan down. She is by herself. I wonder if Not Prepared will be able to play with this. No, he's not in. Going to dig top instead. HD Hard is the one in danger, but a huge Misha stun denies the lick opportunity. Very well done by him. Unfortunately, the bear might be sacrificed. No, it won't. And the hook over the wall is going to punish Protoss Frank. This is where the potency lies. Stitches scamming hooks into Gorge, trying to get picks.
Fortunately, we did follow that with the camera, but TV Coffee now a bit of danger themselves. Out comes the CC from Deckard Kane, and Drowclick pushed into a bit of danger. Light Bomb comes out, will peel away, and without the Tychus, they're not really getting through that huge health bar of Stitches.
He is a very thick hero, but he could get a little bit out of position here, as his team have left him to pay by himself, but the blue team were not about to let that happen. What a lovely little pick off there. Nazeebo does get the gems in, but 30 seconds for Nazeebo for Stitches back. This might actually be more of a waste than it is a blessing.
Yeah, the blue team have decent clear. It's Grenade Build Tychus, it's a Junkrat. Jahaka equally can do fairly good clear, but Suspect a little bit too far forward, as we have the blue team now knocking through the Reds. Chachao as well, low mobility. You talked about it earlier. They can get in, but can they get out? And Lornado just the wrong side to pull them into battle. But this is definitely going to be a practically completely free clear here for the blue team.
Yeah, two critical errors coming out here from Team Cat Green. And now what looked like a slightly bad position has turned into a real problem. They're going to have to get some serious pickoffs in order to remain even in this game. But at 2 levels down, that is over 8% bonus HP for their opponents compared to their normal position in the game. As this Lornado almost scamming the Ando, and I think the stun might actually have saved him a little bit, but not enough. He is going to go down. Xiao Xiao, it looks like they are going to fall next. No, the Stitch is dying before making a liar out of Luca, and that is a huge set of losses. After this top is cleared, Boss is going to be summoned to push in that bottom lane, and with almost 50 gems in hand, they are going to be close to a turn-in as well. Oh wow,
it's okay, Luca.
He is almost 50.
We didn't see we didn't see the Stitches die, so we don't count that, as we have level 16 advantage, as you say. And with this boss, they should make a decent play for this keep. 8 gems away from a turn-in, and there's a beefy wave at the bot lane. Should Dahaka be able to pick that up as well, and they could well get a turn-in instantly after this boss, or straight away if they absolutely want. As, yeah, look at that, picking up a few more gems. It seems like the team are making an umming and ahhing scenario. Oh, the hook over the wall from Stitches, not quite connecting with anyone. And the blue team know that they can get a turn-in, but with this boss, they want to make the most of it. It's a hard one to judge right now.
I think ideally they would have held off on capping their boss a little bit, but instead they just want to march it up to the keep, get it hitting that keep, and then they can back away, get a pay whilst Dahaka fixes the map. And this way they're going to get as much value out of their turn-in as they can. They have got time to play with. They've got enough gems for this turn-in, but this is going to be their last turn-in for a little while. I would have liked to see Drowclick try and deny a pay as opposed to just hook of the bush there, but you know, I suppose you never really know quite where they're going to be. Not able to get the bottom camp, as unfortunately Not Prepared can't quite count there, completing the turn in I think earlier than the team was expecting, but they do have a hard camp in mid that will be enough value for them here, as 16's still not in for our red team.
No, so that top lane is going to be under a lot of pressure from the Web Weaver wave, with it being such a bruised keep. Meanwhile, mid lane has been the focus of a lot of things, and especially with this camp. There's no wall this time. The blue team could look to try and make a play for it here. But Junkrat's up by themselves up top. We might see some sort of play go that way.
Yeah, I think that's very deep for them to try and step up for Junkrat. Instead, they're looking to try and clear mid out as quick as they can. Odin is going to get popped here by Protoss Frank a little bit late, maybe, but not by much. In comes the Kerrigan. Engage, though. He's found a lot of good stuff, but has to use her web in order to stay up in the fight. Isn't enough. She is going to fall. Coffee has been gorged. Tries to save himself, but not enough, though. So 1 for 1 there. Is it going to be enough to keep the fallen? The blue team say, let's just go hit this core. Our bottom keep is going to get taken down, and a scramble defense here. Can the Nazebo put out enough damage? 3 levels down without level 20. It's going to be tough as the core shields are starting to full trans. So much wave pressure is here. Not prepared. Hanging on as long as he can. The Dark Wolf getting damage out on this core, and it will be Franco's Eggpostles who take themselves into the final.
GG, well played. Sorry, I went to the wrong screen there, and it's a little bit depressing all of a sudden, but we will be getting to that perhaps a little bit later. As Franco's Eggpostles have taken this, and they will be heading to that grand final. They did win this one. And yeah, this is great. You know, they are the namesake here of the Eggs Cup. They've got an egg in their name. So they almost deserve to win from that purely. As one of the moderators has done the prediction.
Hello, I did it. Look at me go. I'm too fast. I think I got it right.
You've just deleted someone's points for no one predicting Franco's Eggpostles.
Oh, well, that's the punishment for being wrong there, Trans.
Well, yeah, 2-1 here. We do see the stats here. Coffee doing a lot of damage generally on this Junkrat, and it's a 14-minute Tomb the Spider Queen game. I mean, that's going to be putting out a fair amount here for that.